12 warriors stood in a circle, their skin glistening under the harsh desert sun, 12 monuments of strength and battle scars. But the Apache girl wasn't looking at any of them. Her gaze fixed on the one man who shouldn't have been there at all. A cowboy. Thin, sunburned, standing at the edge of the gathering like a ghost that forgot to fade. No one had invited him. No one acknowledged he existed. Yet when her father asked who she chose, her hand trembled, then pointed straight at him. The circle froze. Faces turned. Disbelief rippled through the crowd like wind through dry grass. This wasn't how the ritual worked. This wasn't possible. 3 days earlier, Levi Holloway had ridden into the hidden Apache Valley with a half-starved horse and a bag of trade goods. He came twice a year, always silent, always respectful, trading for what he needed and leaving before sunset. The Apache tolerated him because he caused no trouble. He was a ghost passing through their world. But this time was different. When he arrived, the whole settlement was gathered. 12 warriors stood in formation, painted and proud, ready for the choosing ceremony, the day the chief's daughter would select her husband. Levi knew what that meant. He turned his horse to leave. Then he saw her. Kiona. He'd seen her before from a distance, always in passing, but now she stood at the center of everything, wrapped in white deerskin trimmed with turquoise beads. Her long black hair was braided with feathers, her face marked in red ochre. She should have looked like a prize on display. Instead, she looked trapped. Their eyes met across the clearing. Just a second, no more, but something passed between them. Recognition, or something deeper. As if they'd known each other in another life. When the warriors began their displays of strength, lifting boulders, wielding spears, Levi watched quietly. His own hands were scarred and burned, made for work, not war. He didn't belong here. Then he realized Kiona was looking straight at him. Her father noticed, then the warriors. Murmurs spread through the crowd. Kuruk, the chief, raised his hand for silence. My daughter will choose now, he said. One man will become her husband and a warrior of our people. Takakota, the biggest warrior, smiled, already stepping forward. Everyone knew he'd be chosen. But Kiona's trembling hand lifted past the warriors, past all 12, and pointed to the cowboy standing alone in the shadows. Levi froze. The crowd erupted. Kuruk's face went pale, then hard. Takakota's expression turned deadly. Kiona's voice rang clear. Him. I choose him. Silence. 3 heartbeats. Then chaos. Takakota lunged first, fury twisting his face. Levi had no weapon, he'd left his gun at his horse. The warrior's fist caught him hard, sending him crashing to the dirt. Enough. Kuruk's voice thundered. The warriors stopped. The chief turned to his daughter. Explain this. Kiona's hand lowered, but her eyes never left Levi. 6 months ago, I saw him at the river, she said softly. He risked his life to save a trapped calf. No one saw him. No one would have cared if he'd failed. But he tried anyway. Her gaze flicked to Levi's scarred hands. I later learned he burned them saving his family's barn when he was young. He failed, but he didn't stop trying. That's who he is. Takakota spat. Weakness. Kiona's voice sharpened. Kindness. The strength to suffer for what can't repay you. That's the courage I want in my life. Kuruk studied Levi for a long time. Do you accept her choice? Levi's throat was dry as dust. He should refuse. He should run. But her eyes held him there, dark, steady, full of something he hadn't felt in years. Yes, he said. Takakota roared and swung again. Pain exploded across Levi's face before Kuruk's command stopped the next blow. Our law is clear, the chief said. When a woman chooses, it is final. But tradition demands proof. You will face 3 trials: strength, courage, and will. Fail one, and you leave forever. Levi nodded. What's the first? Takakota smiled coldly. At dawn, the test of endurance. We climb the red cliffs, carrying stones. Fall behind, and you fail. Morning came cruel and cold. Levi stood at the base of the 300-foot cliff, the leather sling heavy with stones biting into his shoulders. The other warriors moved like mountain lions, strong, sure-footed. Levi stumbled after them, blood already soaking through his hand wraps. Halfway up, gravel gave way under his boot. He teetered on the edge, staring down into the void. Then, somehow, he caught a rock and pulled himself back. Above him, Takakota kicked loose stones that rained down. Levi flattened himself, shielding his head. He wanted to quit, but below, a figure in white watched from the valley. Kiona. He pushed on. Step by step. Breath by burning breath. By the time he reached the summit, his hands were torn open, but he'd closed the gap. The marker stone gleamed ahead. Takakota waited beside it, blocking the only path down. You're in my way, Levi said. Then move me. Levi sat down instead. I'll wait. The crowd murmured far below. The sun climbed higher. Finally, Kurik's command echoed upward. Takakota, move. The warrior stepped aside just enough. Levi squeezed past, his boots inches from the drop. Takakota whispered, one push. Levi didn't answer. He just kept moving. When he finally reached level ground, his legs gave out. Kiona knelt beside him, touching his bloodied hand. Kurik's voice carried across the clearing. The outsider stands. The first trial is complete. Takakota's glare said this wasn't over. The second trial came at sunset, the test of courage. The warriors would enter the canyon of dead trees alone, unarmed, and retrieve a marked stone hidden inside. Levi stepped into the canyon last. Cold air swallowed him. The white trees stretched like bones, the ground littered with brittle branches. Rattlesnakes coiled in the roots, cougars watched from the cliffs. He searched for hours, checking hollows and fallen trunks. 3 times he found stones that weren't his. Then finally, his mark. 3 lines crossed by a diagonal. Relief died quickly. Heavy footsteps approached. Takakota emerged from the shadows, his own stone in hand, eyes full of murder. They'll find you in a week, he said softly. If the animals leave enough. Levi backed away, and felt the ground vanish behind him. A hidden drop. Nowhere left to go. Takakota lunged. Levi dove sideways, crashing through dry branches. He ran blindly, weaving through the maze until he reached a bent tree he recognized, the snake's hollow. He grabbed a branch, jammed it in, then hid. The rattlesnake exploded out just as Takakota charged past. The warrior's boot came down inches from it. The strike was lightning fast. Takakota screamed, staggering back, knife flashing as he tried to cut the venom loose. Sweat poured from his face. Levi stepped out, breathing hard. Where's the way out? Takakota glared through the pane. North. Follow the wall on your right. Levi tore his shirt into strips, made a crutch, and helped him up. You'll live, he said quietly. That's what I do, I save things trying to kill me. They reached the canyon entrance together. The other warriors stared. Snake, Takakota rasped. My fault. Not his. Kurik nodded slowly. Second trial complete. Then his gaze hardened. Tomorrow, the test of will. You will fight until only 2 remain. The winner will marry my daughter. At dawn, drums thundered across the valley. The tribe formed a wide circle in the dust. Levi's body was broken in every way. His ribs ached, his hands barely functioned. But he stepped forward anyway. The first warrior came at him like a storm. Levi fell hard, blood spilling into the dirt. The crowd roared. Then a voice cut through the noise. Enough. Takakota stood at the edge of the circle, leaning on his walking stick. He's passed every test that matters. In the canyon, I tried to kill him. He saved me instead. The murmurs spread like fire. Takakota's voice carried. Strength without honor is nothing. Power without compassion is weakness. We tested his body and found it wanting. We tested his heart and found it unbreakable. He turned to Kuruk. The question isn't if he's worthy of her. It's if we are worthy to stand beside him. Silence fell. Kuruk approached Levi, studying him for a long moment. My daughter saw something I did not. You've proven your heart. He extended his hand. Rise. The trials are complete. Kiona walked through the circle. Her hand found Levi's chest, resting over his heart. I chose you, she whispered. Not because you were strongest, but because you were true. Kuruk raised his voice. The trials are finished. The spirits have spoken. No one objected. Takakota nodded once. That night, under a sky thick with stars, the wedding took place. It was simple, sacred, binding. When Kuruk joined their hands, Levi felt the weight of everything that had led him here, the loneliness, the pain, the scars. 3 months later, they built a home where the Cowboy's land met the Apache Valley, a place that belonged to both worlds. Kiona taught him her language. He taught her about horses and storms. Sometimes, Takakota visited, his limp fading with time. He never apologized, but he didn't have to. On quiet nights, Levi would sit beside Kiona, their hands entwined. He'd remember the day 12 warriors stood before her, and she chose the one man who didn't belong. Because sometimes, the weakest man wins, not by being strongest, but by being brave enough to try. If you enjoyed this story, click the video on your screen now to watch another unforgettable tale from the frontier, where courage and destiny collide in ways you never expected. Don't forget to subscribe and consider a super chat to help us keep bringing you more stories like these. Your support means everything to us.